Varessa's kit sucks. I hate her gameplay, I hate her mechanics, I hate everything about her game design. Cool, so now that I have your attention, let's get into the actual topic of this video. Usually in my character analysis videos, I try to explore a character's entire kit. But lately, I noticed it's so much more interesting to fixate on a specific mechanic rather than generalize the entire video. For example, I enjoyed talking about Kenichi and Emily paving the way for Dendro units with less Quicken-based synergy. Seed Lolly was a solid segue to better explore Cryo and its issues with Elemental Mastery, and my Malwika and Pyro MC video leaned more into the topics of off-field Pyro application, since that's a pretty niche form of utility within the roster. And now we're here with Varessa. She's a plunge-focused character who has very unique combos involving skill, charge attacks, and plunge attacks. And despite all that, this video will instead explore her niche mechanic of a special burst or alternate energy consumption. The only other person who has a similar mechanic is Sethos, and he'll serve as our comparison with Varessa. I feel like this aspect of Varessa's kit is rarely talked about, so I want to shed some more light on it. Why does Sethos have better execution on the energy mechanic, and where is Varessa lacking in that department? Down below, you can find general disclaimers, timestamps, social media links, music credits, and a link to my Discord server. And I feel like I should voice this specific disclaimer, just because this video will voice a negative opinion on Varessa's burst mechanic, it does not mean I believe her kit as a whole is poorly designed, nor do I believe her kit has been ruined as a result of a single bad aspect. Okay? Okay. Clearing that up now before we jump further in. So, without further ado, let's get started. To start off, let's look at Sethos' burst and energy mechanics and use him as a reference for what I believe makes a good alt energy character. You have two ways of consuming his energy. One, you can do a charge attack, which will drain up to 20 energy to rapidly decrease the aiming time of his level 2 charge shot. Number 2, you can cast his burst, which infuses his normal attacks with electro damage. Both have unique effects, and all this leads into my first thing I like. The energy mechanic is a core part of his playstyle, and how you utilize that energy determines what kind of playstyle you run. If you like the aim shot playstyle, you can run him like Ganyu or Linny. If you're someone who isn't a fan of that, his burst gives him that specialized infusion to run a normal attacking playstyle, similar to Yoimiya. This playstyle also gives him access to normal attack animation synergies, such as Xingqiu or Yelan. Here's where the next design mechanic comes in. Despite one playstyle being aim shots and the other being auto-attacking, both playstyles deal charge attack damage. This means no matter how you choose to run Sethos, the weapons and artifacts you run for him should be the same. The only major difference I can think of is the differing energy recharge requirements, but aside from that, you won't need two distinct builds for the playstyle choices. I will mention for clarity that Sethos has an A4 that boosts the damage of his special aim shots, which serves as a unique incentive to run that playstyle. It might also give that playstyle an extra boost, since the auto-attack version has a few extra synergies he can work with. Either way, the way he's designed still gives you flexibility to play him differently based on your preferences. Next up, let's look at Varessa's burst and explain why it's a bit out of place. Her main burst is just a massive hit of damage. Meanwhile, her special burst will be available after she does a plunge attack in the Fiery Passion state. She consumes a little under half of her original burst cost and deals what's effectively a second, unique plunge attack. When it was revealed that Varessa had a second burst mechanic, the first thing that crossed my mind was, of course, her having a similar playstyle to Sethos. You would have two ways to use her energy, and you can decide whether you want to cast her usual burst or cast her special mini burst. And if that were the case, I wouldn't be making this video. But it's not. First flaw with the mechanic. Varessa's kit isn't even centered around energy. Despite her burst being a core part of her kit, her main gameplay focuses more on her skill. With a lot of units who are burst or energy reliant, not being able to use a burst every rotation can be absolutely detrimental to your team's ability to deal damage, enable or trigger reactions, or have utility uptime. Sethos falls under that category. Without energy, his special charge attacks take eons to charge, and he's unable to cast his usual burst for the auto-attacking playstyle. With Varessa, her special burst hits are a substantial part of her damage, but if you aren't able to use her burst every rotation, you can still complete an attack combo. It might feel a bit weird, clunky, or shorter, but she can function perfectly fine. So already, the whole burst mechanic doesn't seem as interesting, since her main playstyle is centered around a non-energy mechanic. Still, the two options are there. So is there any incentive to run her regular burst over the special one? Not really. I don't delve too deeply into the numbers, but for this, I find it relevant at least in a general comparative sense. Both of Varessa's burst abilities are pure damage, so the only real incentive on what you pick is going to be the damage output, and it's very clear that the devs want you to lean towards that special burst. Comparing Varessa's regular burst in Fiery Passion is around 900% attack. Compare that to her special burst, she can deal 2 instances, each with around 650 attack scaling. So 900% versus 1300%. Second thing, Varessa's regular burst is just burst damage. Her special burst is plunging damage. With Varessa being a unit who specializes in plunge damage, a majority of her buffs will benefit her special burst, but will do nothing for her regular one. This only furthers the gap between her two burst attacks, making her regular one completely obsolete. All in all, there's really no reason to use Varessa's regular burst. The damage output can never match up, and using it doesn't help with rotations or anything else. If you were to remove her regular burst altogether, it'd have very little impact on her gameplay, if at all. So why does it exist in the first place? Well, at the end of the day, the devs still have to create a regular burst to fulfill the bare minimum of a kit design. Getting your energy to 100% has to unlock some kind of move. On top of that, Varessa's a 5-star, so she also needs a full burst animation. With all of that being said, we can acknowledge that her regular burst is there to fulfill certain kit and design requirements, while also acknowledging the mechanic itself has flaws that can be improved on. A good chunk of my other content is making videos centered around concepts or reworks, so I think it's only right to have a section with some form of rework idea for Varessa's burst. The main goal is to do something to make her burst feel similar to Sethos, where your choice in energy consumption affects how you play her. I think we can keep the initial stuff that's already there. Cool ass animation with a single hit of burst damage. Maybe we could change the burst damage to plunge damage, but that's an optional choice. What else can we do to make it worthwhile? Perhaps, after using her regular burst, Varessa gains some standard buffs to her kit. I intend for this to be something at the start of her rotation, which means you'd have little to no energy throughout her field time combos. You only have enough for one type of playstyle per rotation. Do you use that energy to buff her regular plunges, or do you use it to get a couple extra hits with her burst plunges? As for the kinds of buffs we can use, increased plunge damage in some capacity can help improve on that, but it might also feel like a bit of a buff overload, considering her A1 buffs her base scalings, her artifact set buffs damage percent, her signature weapon buffs crit damage, and that's not even talking about the characters and team comps that can buff her various stats. The other type of buff I think would be really cool for her regular burst is some sort of cooldown reduction on her skill, which ironically can be used to extend her field time and rotations. Let's use an example. Her standard combo with the mini burst is the following: skill, charge, plunge, enhanced skill, enhanced charge, enhanced plunge, mini burst. Then you repeat this combo one more time and then reset your rotation setup. This fits well in an 18-ish second rotation. Now, if you tried extending the first rotation by doing this combo a third time, she won't have enough charges to complete 2 complete cycles in the second rotation. With this new reworked burst, your new combo just becomes skill, charge, plunge, enhanced skill, enhanced charge, enhanced plunge. But instead of repeating the combo once, the faster cooldown means you can do this cycle a total of 3 or even 4 times. And you can do this consistently every rotation. The extra skill combos make up for the damage you lose from the mini bursts, and doing more combos also results in longer field time, extending her rotations and allowing her the option to run teams that might be closer to 20 plus seconds. This burst rework isn't something I put immense thought into, since it isn't a dedicated rework video, but I want to give you some kind of example of what I mean when I say the 2 burst options should create a choice. Since Varessa's kit is more skill focused, it's hard to give her 2 distinct playstyles with the burst options, which is why the matter of choice is more focused on rotation time and which skill combo you might enjoy more. To wrap up, I'll once again clarify. I don't want the takeaway of this video to be that Varessa's regular burst being out of place ruins her entire kit. Her main design focuses on the skill and special burst plunges, and since all of that is well put together, nothing in her general gameplay has major design flaws. but her regular burst is still a game design flaw. It serves practically no purpose for general gameplay, and is really just there to fill up the space for a 5-star burst animation, one that will rarely be seen because, once again, there's no purpose in using it. Another thing is when I skill issue and use her burst at the wrong time, my immediate thought is, shoot, I just wasted all my energy, which isn't a thought you should have when casting a burst. With Veressa being the second unit to have a special form of energy consumption, I thought it would be a cool topic to explore. Should a new unit come around with a similar ability, or if you want to take a step at designing your own alt energy unit, hopefully this video gives you some insight into the mechanic, and what details you can look out for in regards to what may be considered good versus flawed execution. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and subscribe to support the channel. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on Veressa's burst mechanic and her kit in general. And if you have any small ideas on ways to improve that part of her kit, feel free to share that down below. If you're someone who's more interested in sharing a detailed rework or original kit of any kind, then I highly recommend checking out the Discord server. We have a dedicated section to Genshin and HSR concept designs, and you will definitely receive much more opportunities for feedback and discussions than you would in a simple comment section. Anyway, that'll be it for this video. Thanks again for watching everyone, and I will see you all next time. Bye!